We're going to have two different perspectives of a single subject. What I want to do is hopefully help women of a younger generation, women of my generation, as well as older women who may not have been told certain things, see a different point of view from how people of the same and opposite sex may view us.
This is a journey into sound. A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new value.
To see how young women view things. So, Karma, what is a characteristic that you've noticed in women, in adult women, that you find very unattractive and off-putting?
Women who are very loud, like very disturbingly loud, and people who just want too much attention on themselves.
Okay. Interestingly, with the advent of social media, people have become louder and louder and louder. And I have to agree that a loud woman is not very attractive to a lot of people of note or of, for lack of a better word, high value. And high value doesn't necessarily mean income, but it does mean someone who, in my opinion, it means someone who just kind of puts themselves at more of an elevated position, to not blend in with the crowd or people who they feel are of a lesser stature. I was lucky to have a mother and grandmothers who instilled in me the importance of being ladylike. And being ladylike does not mean that you have to be the loudest person in the room in order to be noticed. For example, you can be quiet, not say a word, but your poise, your mannerisms will speak volumes about you without you having said anything. And you'll be surprised at how far you can get in social situations and in relationships by just toning it down a little bit. So ladies, one thing we can do is understand that we have everything we need within our personality, within our womanly wiles, without us having to articulate that in a loud and boisterous fashion. There have been places where, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that's had this happen, where you hear someone before you see them and you're like, oh my goodness, why are you here? Now the you, the you could be not even an economic class, but of a social group or demographic that you would not expect to be where you are. Interestingly enough, I was in Saks Fifth Avenue a few months ago, and I had posted about my experience when I first walked in. There was a young lady who I felt was inappropriately dressed. And I made a statement about that, not to her, but in my post. And it was not to belittle her, but to just tell women we need to do better because we can. And I didn't say y'all, I said we, myself included. When you see someone displaying behavior that you find off-putting, it's an opportunity for us to look at ourselves and see, well, what am I doing that could be considered offensive or off-putting to other people? So needless to say, people came for me in the comments and I'm like, wow. And the number one thing that they asked me was, why didn't you approach her and say something to her versus posting about that? And here's why. Typically, people who are loud and boisterous don't like to hear anyone trying to be helpful to them or any words of correction. You know, they would be more so like, you know, who are you? And make more of a scene than anticipated. So what we don't understand is how what we do affects others in our group. A lot of melanated women already have a stigma. We already have a stigma about us. We have been pegged and pigeonholed in so many stereotypes and boxes. And I personally have worked hard, not because of, but in spite of, to set myself apart from the negative press that we've gotten. So when I walked into a store on Michigan Avenue, such as Saks Fifth Avenue, yes, I did expect the patrons to treat the business as it were where they were. Yes, we're spending the money and we're the customer, but you still have to show respect for every establishment that you go in. And what a lot of women, I don't think, are instilling in young ladies, especially since the you know what has been taking place and people have been stuck in the house, is that there is still social etiquette in place. There are still certain things and protocols you have to follow when you go certain places, because you're not only representing yourself, you're representing your family, You're representing everyone in your social circle and in your personal circle. And think about that. How do you want to be represented? How do you want people to think of you? And for those who say, I don't care what people think, it's not so much about caring what people think, but people's opinions matter, especially because people need people. If people have a poor opinion of you, they are not going to be as willing to help you or work with you as someone who they have a high opinion of. And I can't stress this enough. I'm sorry, I'm getting tripping over my words. I get so emotional about this because it's something that's very important to me. Young ladies, this young lady here, I've been in her life for her entire life. I have no biological children. However, I do mentor several children, and this one here is the one that's closest to my heart. And any way that I can help her and see her succeed, that's what I want to do. And she's 13 years old now, 13 going on 30. But I am very proud of how observant she is. She's around different types of people, and we actually will people watch. People watching is a whole fun day in itself. Let me tell you, I'm sure you've seen things like, wow, it's a big confidence boost to people watch a lot of times. But it's also an opportunity to reflect like, wow, I would never want to end up as a meme like that, or I would never leave the house like that. And then you see some people like, wow, they did that. I never thought that, you can make something look so great. So there's positive and negative aspects to people watching, but there's always something we can learn by watching other people and those around us. So with that said, people watching, what's the craziest thing you've seen people watching that you were just so appalled at, like you just couldn't believe?
Negative wise or positive wise?
Either one. What had the most impact on you? What was the behavior or an action or a look that you saw that you felt was uncommon, good or bad?
We were in the car and where were we? I
don't know. This is your story.
We saw this lady and she was dressed in like rags, but I don't think she was homeless, but she was just yelling at someone from across the street at a liquor store. She looked very, how do I put it?
I don't know how you put it. This is your story, not mine.
It wasn't very feminine of her. She just acted like as if she was at home in her home, but she was outside on the street just acting unwomanlike.
Now, you made a good statement. You said at home in her home. Now, femininity is something that you don't turn on or off. So the behavior that you displayed, would you even think that was acceptable for her to do at home?
No.
So it was worse that it was done in public. So that's something else we need to think of, ladies. So certain good traits that we have, it's not really something you turn on and off. Femininity is what you are. There are things, you don't have to be a damsel in distress all the time. That's not what femininity is. But it could be something as, like she mentioned, not being the loudest one in the room. Women, we are naturally the more delicate of the human species. Men are more so the front people. We can learn to kind of fall back and compliment. We compliment the stronger of the species. We are more so the supporting actress. And supporting actresses win Oscars. Don't get me wrong. It does not mean that you have to just put your dreams and goals and everything on hold. But I promise you, you get more with honey. Being loud and obnoxious and forceful and aggressive is not good and it's not attractive on a woman. Now, again, we can speak up for ourselves. We can fight for what we want, but it's not the what, it's the how. So if there is something that you want, you don't have to be physical and aggressive and scary. It's more of a turnoff. But when you keep your cool and maintain good poise and almost a level of feminine nonchalantness, I promise you, people will throw whatever you want at your feet way sooner than they would if you tried to be aggressive and just take it. It is not our jobs to take. It is our jobs to cultivate. So that's something that I want to impart to women today. We do not have to be vocally or physically aggressive in order to get our points across, in order to be seen, in order to be respected. We can do all of that by maintaining poise and calmness and a nice, cool demeanor and speaking in a nice, welcoming and inviting tone, and showing people that, yes, we can be respectful and yet respected and be respectable. I like that. But that's just something that I really find important. There will be more videos as we see fit on just little tips on being more feminine and more ladylike and getting what we want, because there is a way to get what you want. And we've been doing it wrong for a long time, ladies, and I am no exception. I do better now because I've messed up in every other kind of way. But once I started really listening and allowing myself to hear what I didn't want to hear, and allowing myself to just be like, yeah, to humble myself. Humbling yourself to accept good information is the first step. Is there anything you'd like to add, little lady?
No, there's not.
Well, I really appreciate your opinion and you joining me for the video.
You are welcome.
What the? Get a load of this kid. Where'd you come from? But I'm just really happy. And I just hope that more women will take young ladies under their wings and show them what didn't work for us so that they don't have to make the same mistakes that we did. And it'll be a beautiful world. Until next time, I'm Margarita.
I'm Karma.
Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on our channel. We will be posting content regularly, individually and collectively. We talk about fitness, fragrance, fashion, femininity, and falsetto, and other things of the voice. Have a great day.
This is a journey into sound.